Trans gay men.
Yeah, but we're femme presenting.
My sister is a lesbian, but she doesn't always identify as my sister. Sometimes she likes to be called my brother.
Hey guys, I'm here with my friend Arielle Scarcella. We're gonna do a fun little video reacting to some of the crazy clips of the queer activists she's encountered at Pride parades. How do you even still go to these events and not lose brain cells?
I don't. I literally I'm posting a video that I think of the video that I posted yesterday. I'm like, I don't even go to these parades except if I'm going there to get content. Like, there's no purpose for the majority of like LGBT people to be at these parades anymore. It's all politics and kinks and stuff that doesn't make, it's all kinks and stuff that doesn't even make any sense, like what we're about to watch. And this is real stuff. People say, oh, there's no way. This is real.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Orlando Pride. I went to New York Pride. Miami Pride. These people really exist, and it's making us all look like we're nuts. So,
well, speaking of stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, we're going to introduce the audience to some very special characters you encountered at Orlando Pride, including femme-presenting gay trans men. Take a look at this clip, guys.
Trans gay men.
Yeah, but we're femme presenting, so we were just shouting it. We were shouting that we were trans gay men because we are. Trans gay men!
What is a trans gay man?
Biologically female, but we're trans men and we're gay. We like guys.
Do you have gender dysphoria?
Yes, heavily.
But you're still femme presenting?
Yeah, I still femme present. I find it comfortable, but at the same time, it does get hard when I can't look mask.
So do you identify as gay or queer?
As queer.
As queer. That's fair, because you're trans guys, right? That's fair. What about you?
Queer as well.
Queer. What about you?
I am not a trans gay man. I identify as a pansexual.
Yay! That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's pretty boring if you ask. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's pretty boring to be just a basic lesbian right now.
I can't find other lesbians out there, so.
Right here, girl. Right here. There's like one of them in this whole parade.
Oh my god.
Everyone's queer.
Yeah, everyone.
Everybody, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Time to go hunting for some lesbians.
He said it's time to go hunting for some lesbians.
So for me, it's just giving straight with extra steps. Like, it's
spicy straight.
Spicy straight. Like, at least she acknowledges she's biologically female. Okay, that's a start. Some of them don't. But then you're biologically female, femme presenting like guys. That's just called being a straight girl, babe. That's still allowed. Like, they know that's still allowed, right?
The thing is, they don't want to be boring straight white girls. Like, they don't want to do that. They want to be oppressed. They want to be a victim, and they want to feel special. The very fact that I walked into this, I wasn't like going up to them and interview. I walked into this, them going, trans gay men, and I was like, this is just, these kids were like 20 years old. And just like halfway through the video, if you guys see, they were like, "Yay!" Like, that is the participation generation in a 2-second clip, just for stating your identity, even though it's not even a real thing. Because I know these people are not actual trans men. Because none of my trans guy friends would actually be like, well, yeah, heavily dysphoric, like, and super happy about it, like.
Also, if you were actually a trans man, meaning born biologically female, but you suffer from gender dysphoria, so you want to live as if you're the opposite sex, you wouldn't be femme presenting. That doesn't make sense. You would specifically want to not be femme presenting. So I don't know if this girl doesn't even know what these words mean, but it's just like woke Mad Libs. Her identity is incoherent, and yet that's being lumped in with LGBTQIA+ and the whole umbrella of the alphabet community. I mean, it kind of makes a mockery of it. It's a joke.
It is a joke. I mean, like, just like, I can't, like, and you'll see in the other videos that I filmed, and I don't know if we're going to react to them here, but the number of videos I filmed that day wound up being like 3 months worth of content. Like, there's so much stupidity with these people these days.
Yeah.
You like, for these kids, it's all about identity. It's all about how I feel inside, which is very narcissistic, right? It's all about me. It's all about my feelings. It's all about how my brain interprets the world. It has nothing to do with how the world sees me, which is what a lot of transsexual people actually are dysphoric about, right? Not how they see themselves, but also how the world sees them. This is the opposite. These kids, it's just, they have no idea what they're doing.
I do, in a way, feel bad for them. They're young. They
do.
still have mushy brains. They have
do.
to be under 25, and they have been fed incoherent ideological nonsense by a culture online and in their schools and in their universities. In some sense, they are victims of that. But at some point, they get old enough that you have to expect them to be able to tell black from white, like tell 2 + 2 = 4. Like at some point, you don't have the excuse of youth to just be totally out of touch with reality.
I think most of the videos that I can tell that they're like under the age of 25, but they're over the age of 18, of course, I tend to be a little bit more understanding, a little bit more like cool with them. And I'm like, okay, like, all right, like, I don't get it, but like, all right.
Yeah, it's kind of funnier when you just encourage them.
A little bit. That's my way of figuring out how to post these to TikTok without getting hate speech violations. So
it's just to encourage their
just to encourage it and just be like, I don't get it, to the camera afterwards, you know?
So up next, we're going to take a look at a couple of people who describe themselves as genderqueer, and warning, it does not make a lot of sense.
Who is genderqueer?
Both of us are
Oh,
genderqueer.
okay.
But
What does genderqueer mean to you, if you don't mind me asking?
I think just not conforming to either female, male type of stereotypes. I think just sticking to whatever feels right to me.
Like currently, you feel like you're showcasing as genderqueer. That's what you feel like you're showcasing.
At the moment, I'm just giving femme.
I was gonna say. I mean, I don't want to
I'm
be.
giving super femme, but
Okay.
like that has.
And then
nothing to
sometimes
do
it
with
changes?
right, yeah, but that has nothing to do with how I feel on the inside, you know. And I think
Okay.
that's the point of being genderqueer.
That's how you feel on the
Yeah,
inside. It's all
exactly.
identity.
It's not
Okay.
about like I could be dressing femme one day and not femme the other, and still feel the same way, you know.
Would a bitch lesbian be genderqueer then? Because they're dressing more
I think
androgynously.
they totally could be if they felt like maybe they feel a little more femme on the inside or something like that. Butch could be like an outer
look that
Right,
determines
exactly.
if you're
It's how you
genderqueer. Like
feel.
you could be the most masculine looking butch lesbian ever,
Exactly.
but unless you feel that way on the inside, it doesn't matter how you dress. Like
right.
What would happen if somebody misgendered you and you looked completely femme? What would you say?
It's a little safer, I'll correct. If I know it's not that safe, it's
It's
not
fair.
safe.
So you
Yeah.
understand that. I mean, people
Yeah.
seeing with their eyes,
Of
they're
course,
seeing.
no,
Yeah.
people are definitely perceiving with their own minds and their own feelings.
Wait, so were they a couple?
They were a couple. One of them was gender. Well, I guess they were both genderqueer.
That again,
One
just
of-
straight. They're just straight.
They're just a straight couple. That's really. I don't think the trans woman to the right is actively seeking transition or doing anything
We've
besides
got a
just wearing
male and a female.
an ugly ass purple wig. Talking about communism, by the way, this was not involved in that clip, but this person was definitely a communist and talking about socialism, all this shit. And then you have the person's girlfriend who is like, yeah, I'm giving femme right now. Like, yeah, like you are. It reminds me of a clip I filmed last year at Miami Pride. That clip went viral, and it was a female with her boobs, like wearing a bikini. It is Miami Pride, like wearing a bikini, saying, yeah, even though my tits are out, I'm non-binary. And I'm looking at her like, isn't that the opposite of what you're trying to achieve, though? Like, but to these people, as she says in this clip, it's all mental for them. Like, no matter what I give, no matter how I present, it doesn't matter. Your eyes are lying to you. It's all about how I feel.
Yeah, they don't seem to get that if something can mean anything, it therefore by definition means
Nothing. It means nothing.
Yeah, I can be genderqueer even when I am female and feel femme and present femme and won't correct if called the wrong pronoun. So it doesn't mean anything. It's
No,
just
it doesn't.
They're just,
Which is crazy because they act like it means everything to them.
they do.
Yes. None of it makes any sense.
So how many actual gay people, as opposed or lesbian, as opposed to queer, in air quotes, people, did you even encounter at these Pride events?
I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Specifically, these clips were mainly at Orlando Pride, which was in October. I filmed this a few months back. I want to say I interviewed maybe 40 people. Maybe 2 of them were lesbians. 2.
Any
2 out of
actual
40.
gay men who call themselves that?
Yes. Gay men usually say I'm gay.
Okay.
It's the females that are always non-binary queer, genderqueer. They don't want to call themselves lesbians. I had a clip go viral on TikTok where a girl, I literally went up to her and I was like, are you gay or queer? And she goes,
Are you guys homosexuals?
Yeah.
What kind of homosexual?
That's not a good question for me.
Oh, I guess I identify as lesbian.
You're a lesbian?
Yeah.
And what about you?
I'm bisexual.
What about you?
Undecided.
Undecided. Maybe she'll meet somebody at the Pride Parade. Do you know?
My girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Definitely
Oh,
gay.
you're gay.
Yeah, I'm
So-
definitely gay.
So what was the question? What were you like worried about answering?
Well, I mean, it's just like, I guess like coming with like a specific label.
If you have a girlfriend, you're at least a little gay.
Well, yeah, no. Like, I am gay. Yeah, I'm gay.
I like gay people.
Yeah, weird.
Well, queer is different than gay. Let's be real.
She just glitched.
She glitched, and I'm like, it's okay. Like, you can say, well, she's like, well, that's my girlfriend. I'm like, and she's like, and I like women, and I date only women. And I'm like, then you're a lesbian. She's like, well, yeah, but like, and it was so obvious how people are afraid to call themselves lesbians now because people don't take female homosexuality as serious as gay male homosexuality. And that this is something I talked about years ago. People, especially the woke activists, will come for lesbians and call them transphobic or bigoted or whatever for not wanting to be open about certain things or not want to date a certain type of person way before they'll ever bother gay men about it.
Yeah,
which is actually misogyny at work. Which is
it's interesting how with
Yeah.
the trans stuff, and there are some real reasons for this, but then some of the reasons are like what you're saying, why it's always about trans women and women's spaces and not trans men and men's spaces. Part of that, I think, is because trans men are not a threat to men. Like a biological female is not a threat to a biological male in most cases, whereas obviously women are at risk of violence from biological males. So there's just a different distinction there.
Right.
But also I think part of it's cultural, like you're saying.
Yes, 100%. It's definitely, I would say 50-50. It's definitely a good mix.
So we have some clips here of you asking these people, gay or queer, and people will be shocked by what people had to say. Take a look at this.
I'm a gay queer. That's what I'm saying. I'm
Gay queer.
queer kid, something like that.
What's the difference?
Nothing.
We were shouting that we were trans gay men because we are.
Trans gay men.
Yeah, but we're femme presenting.
Are you guys gay or queer?
Queer.
3 queers in a row. Are you gay or queer?
Queer.
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 Gay or queer?
Go hunting for some lesbians.
She said it's time to go hunting for some lesbians. Is anybody in here a homosexual? What are even all of those flags? Are you gay or queer?
Queer.
I'm pansexual and gender fluid.
I'm pan.
Ally.
I am asexual and aromantic.
Asexual. I'm straight.
You're pan.
Yeah.
You're pan.
Pan. I'm asexual.
Yay!
I'm a lesbian, yes. 1 out of 7, okay. Do you identify as gay or queer?
As queer.
Are you gay or queer?
I'm queer.
Queer.
I love how the one in there, the gay trans man, was in there saying, I'm queer. What?
Every time. And people think that I purposefully find everyone that says what I want them to say. But like literally I posted every single interview within a month. There were 3 lesbians there, I think.
Oh.
3 lesbians. There were a bunch of gay men and they were just like wearing Kamala shirts and I was like, okay, whatever. And they were just like, yeah, we're gay and we want a woman president, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. But like, they don't call themselves queer. These people call themselves queer. Even the first person was like, I'm a gay queer. And I was like, what's the difference? Nothing. So like, why are you using that word?
Queer.
Because it's become a political, Pride has become political, purely political.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. That's why I don't really want anything to do with it. I might go troll it with you next time.
I'm down. You know what I'm going to do for Miami Pride? It's in a month. I am going to go to Pride and I'm going to have my MAGA hat. I know you didn't vote for Trump, but I'm going to have my MAGA hat. I'm going to put it on the side. Nobody's going to see it. I'm going to say, hey, who do you think the most inclusive? Which side do you think is more inclusive, or who do you think do you think the LGBT community is inclusive? Oh yeah, we love everybody. Blah blah blah. That's probably what they're going to say. And I'm going to say something like, you know what? Like I can't really. The sun's in my eyes, and I'm going to say like, my friend, give me my hat, and then see how they react to it.
That will be interesting.
It's going to be great.
To see how they respond to that.
Because they have to either eat their words or be hypocrites.
I also would love to hear, like, there's so many delusional LGBT people about what's happening and what isn't. Like, many of them literally think like the camps are coming They're going to be
Literally.
rounded up. They
Yes.
think gay marriage is going to be overturned, even though I've explained why that's not really a thing. I mean, there are some of these like meaningless, non-binding resolutions being introduced in red states. They don't do anything. You're right. A resolution has no power.
Yeah, it's just people being like, we don't like this. We want to put our feelers out there to see how other people in the government might react, or other
but it has no legal binding.
But there's nothing that's actually, nothing is actually coming to fruition.
But they are convinced. They're convinced. They live in echo chambers on TikTok or whatever. And I think that's why a lot of these people call themselves queer, to go back to the video, is that it's a movement, a cultural currency, a political identity. The thing that annoys me, though, is I've had people who, again, like this is someone I know in real life who's just a lesbian but calls herself queer, refer to me as queer. And I'm like, she's like, you'd get it as queer
Part
people.
of the queer community.
Part of the queer community. I'm like, I'm not part of that.
Yeah.
I'm gay.
Yeah, no.
That's what I am. I don't want anything to do with that, to be honest.
Seriously. And there was one clip that we didn't show from Orlando Pride as well, and with a different couple. Oh, it was with the lesbian that was like not wanting to admit that she was a lesbian. And she's like, well, what's the difference? Because I didn't include that part. She's like, well, what's the difference between gay and queer, or lesbian and queer? I was like, I'll show you right now. I was like, who did you vote for? And she goes, Kamala. And I was like, I voted for Trump. And she goes, and then she understood.
The difference is, do you think biological sex is a spectrum? Yes or no? That's the difference between gay and queer.
That's definitely a big part of it too. I mean, and usually what I'll say to people is, have you ever met a non-binary Republican? Have you ever met a queer conservative? No,
but there's plenty of gay conservatives and
plenty
gay
of gay
Republicans
conservatives,
and lesbians.
plenty of actual transsexual people that believe in biological reality and sex, and that sex isn't a spectrum, and vote not necessarily vote Republican or Democrat, but just don't vote blue no matter who, just because they're not a part of this cult.
Yeah, I will say that on some of these videos, I do feel bad for the people. And this last one we're going to react to is one of those. Take a look at this one, guys.
My sister is a lesbian, but she doesn't always identify as my sister. Sometimes she likes to be called my brother, although she still feels feminine and is attracted to other women.
Yikes. That's all I have to say. Yikes.
It's bad. And this was from 3 years ago, 3 summers ago, actually. This summer coming up, this will be 3 years ago. So this is when it started getting really bad.
I mean, imagine, like, sometimes I feel like I'm your brother. Sometimes I feel like I'm your sister, but I'm always a lesbian and I always feel feminine. Like, at some point, these people are all just mentally confused. Like, emotionally mixed up. Like, this is not... It's not just a different way people exist, like being gay or lesbian. At some point, that does become a mental illness. And I don't say that in a mean way. I don't say that I really don't. I don't believe in stigma. I say that in a way that, like, get help to resolve those feelings and that incoherence, because it actually must be very distressing to you. Whereas being gay is not distressing inherently.
Right.
Just existing as a gay person, unless society in some way harms you because of it, doesn't cause you distress. Feeling like that is inherently distressing and confused. And so I don't mean it in a stigmatizing way or a mean way, but, like, that is a mental illness. To conflate in your head like this, what even plane of existence do you occupy? That's not normal.
They have no idea. No, they don't know. And the funny thing is that if you watch till the end of that video, I don't know if you're going to put it there, the people of color, the black girls were like, what are these people talking about?
Yeah.
Like, they're like the actual based ones. And these white girls are the ones that, the majority of the white girls are the ones that have no idea who they are. And and I think a big part of it, like we were talking about before, is because they have no victim currency or victimhood currency. So they have to make up these identities as they go along to feel oppressed.
Yeah,
so they make up all these fake identities and come with the colored hair and have trans flags on their stomachs and fake tattoos and with writing on them. It's just, and they look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them, you're making us look bad. I had a conversation with a girl at Hollywood Pride, which is in South Florida, a few weeks ago. And in the very beginning of the conversation, I was telling her, listen, do you think that people should call themselves queer if they're not homosexual or have same-sex attraction or don't have gender dysphoria. And in the beginning of the conversation, of course, they were like, well, the people can call themselves whatever they want and blah, 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 blah. And then towards the end of the conversation, I was like, do you see how this is hurting people like me? These people don't know who they are. And she was like, oh shit, you're right. Like, I can understand how these kids that are confused are making us all look bad. Like, what you identify as, it isn't just a self-identity. If you're going online and spewing all this rhetoric, and you're speaking for people that you are not even a part of that said group, you have to be ready for the consequences, and the consequences are here.
Yeah.
And people that are in the Trump administration, people that voted for him, people that didn't even vote for him, are sick of this shit. You know?
I agree. And I think that the problem is that they have attached too many things to the coattails of the LGBT, but particularly gay and lesbian community and acceptance. And they've attached so many things to try to ride the coattails of it that they're dragging it down. It's pretty obvious to me that, unfortunately, people tend to be pretty black and white binary thinkers, and they kind of think of things as all or nothing packages. So when you tell them, oh, if you want to accept gay marriage or gay people or lesbian people, you also have to accept that some people's sex is a spectrum that fluctuates by the hour. And some moments they're male and some moments they're female, and whatever they feel at that moment is true and valid and reality, and you must affirm it. Yeah, they're not going to do that. Sorry. A lot of them are just going to reject the whole thing. And I think, unfortunately, that's a big part of what we're seeing now.
Yeah. I mean, Vivek, when he was on the campaign trail with Trump, he was like, listen, gay people, here's our message to you. We don't care that you want to get married. We don't care if you're married. Like, we respect gay marriage, but that doesn't mean that boys are girls and girls are boys, and that men should be in women's sports. Like, that's literally pretty much what he said. And I think the majority of people were on board with that as well.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if you want to see more crazy videos like this, check out Arielle's channel and also her TikTok feed where she posts these. All the links will be in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do make sure to subscribe to this channel if you aren't yet, or if you're new here, do hit that like button, and we'll talk again real soon.